Pottering lube. Larger breasts. Good evening, darlings, and a very warm welcome to Monday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be coming directly into your eyes and indeed your ears over no fewer than the next 120 minutes. Gosh, imagine that. I mean, imagine a minute. I don't know. What could you do in a minute? What takes it steady on? Um, oh, what takes a minute to do? Well, not boil an egg, that's longer than a minute, but think of something that takes a minute to do and then multiply that in your mind or on paper, if you like, by 120. And that will give you an all encompassing sense of what lies ahead. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait. It is so lovely to see you again. I haven't seen you since the last time, which would have been this morning, really. But let's ignore that. I haven't seen you since the time before that. Yeah, which was yesterday, wasn't it? But if we ignore that, then I haven't seen you since Thursday. And that is an unfeasibly long time for us to be apart. I've been suffering, quite honestly, from separation anxiety. And it's forced me to employ certain coping mechanisms, most of which involved wine and lurid fantasies about Alanis Morissette. And we'd probably better not go any further into that. But I'm so looking forward to catching up with you all. I hope you've all had the most wonderful weekend. I can't wait to hear all the news. So, I mean, do tell me anything that you'd like to tell me, what you've been up to over the weekend, any particularly memorable meals. Have you successfully, in the last 3 days, have you successfully committed a crime and got away with it? And if so, what crime was it? And, anything else you care to mention? Did something mildly amusing happen to you? Did a celebrity turn up in your dream? Did something nearly, but not quite, fall on your head? Anything you'd like to tell me, throw it at me. We'll fertile around with it. We'll massage it. We'll prod it into a nice shape, and we will run with it like a like a man with a turkey under his arm running away from the security guards in his local Waitrose. Who've we got? What's going on there? There we are. Smelly Hole. Good evening, Smelly. What an absolute joy to be in your fine, splendid, and just generally gorgeous company tonight. Oh, not long now, and that charming man will be on our screen once more. Love you, Boaty. Love you more. Sophie is here. Sophie Ellis Baxter. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well and have had a good week. Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5. Ugh. Jolly good evening to you. Steve Cole, Jimmy Quinn, good evening, Boaty and all. Lord Stiff Upper Lip, hi, Mr. Boaty. Hello, Lord Stiff Upper Lip. Neil Gibbons, a.k.a. the Gibbonator, a.k.a. the very nice man, a.k.a. the very, very nice man. Anyway, point is, he's here, and he says, hello, and he waves, and asks, how is everyone doing? So, that's nice. Hello, says Buddy Scrotter, to all users of Boaty's Pottering Lube. And good evening to everyone else. Well, that's very all-encompassing. Vindaloo is right in our midst and says, Hi, your lordship, Mr. Boaty. I hope you're well, and I'm loving your vlog. Well, that's exceedingly kind of you to say so, Vindaloo. I'm loving you, loving them. Joe is here. Good evening, Jason and chat. Good evening, you silly sandwich, says bad books. Oh, right. Apologies if I don't reply to any comments on YouTube. I've been banned. Can you believe it? Bloody hell. He's being a... Of course I am, Jimmy, you know me. Boaty's World, brought to you by Mr. Podger, Rusty Trombone and Dragos. Oh dear. Pingu Concord is with us. Hello. This already feels like several years, says Buddy. Jim is here. James Ray, good evening, Boaty and all. Hopefully your weekend went well. I hope your weekend went even better, Jim. Thank you for being here. Boaty, says Buddy Scrotter. You could have lost a tooth on a sandwich that substantial. I could indeed, Buddy, but I took the precaution of losing them before eating it, and thus I was able to eat it in complete safety. Sophie says, well, good news. Excellent. We like good news, Soph. I have sent off all my details, and the council has... Oh, and the council has picked a place. So now I've just got to wait. Gosh. Oh, so you're getting a gaff, Soph. You're getting a little love shack all of your own. Oh, excellent news. Good evening, young grandad, says Pendulous Knocking. I like that. Pendulous Knocking. A very good evening, Boaty and everyone. How did the collection caper turn out, Boaty? Says Andrew Butty Geeg, a.k.a. Ivor Spotty Butty. The collection caper went pretty well. Pretty well on the whole. There were a few problems. Well, there was one particular problem that needed to be dealt with, but it all ended up successfully. Can't say too much about that. Frank G _05 is here. Lovely. Hello, Frank. Evening, everyone. Chris McGuire is here. Evening, all. What did you collect from Luton today? Asked Chris. Well, it's a bit of a secret, Chris, but I can confirm that it may be a motorised form of transport. Neil says, also, I'm coming up to the yard next Monday. If you can get hold of a starter motor for the 45, bring it down and I'll throw it on for you. Oh, bless you, Neil. I don't know if it is the starter, mate. I don't know if the starter's buggered or if it's the spade terminal thing, or I don't know. Starter motor is going to be bloody expensive, isn't it? I don't know. I need some advice on that one. What got you banned, Boaty? Honestly, says Buddy Scrotter, I have been banned from commenting on YouTube because one of you lovely people on my... I was replying to some comments this evening, and one of you lovely people on my broken down live stream said, that's a bugger, that's a bugger, hope you get it sorted. And I said, yes, a bugger indeed. And I got banned. 24 hours, not allowed to comment for breaking YouTube community standards. So there we are. Good evening, Boaty and all in chat, says Trisha. Trisha Alderman. We all know her. Hello, Ben's here. Rose, oh, I'm not reading all of that out. Ben. Father Boaticus and the Camp Damp Jesus and the Luton Rover 623 ABS Sensor Quest. There. Sophie's looking forward to spending some time with Neil in Blackpool. Pendulous Knocking says, are you the infamous sidekick to that Jesus-looking guitar chef bloke who's in the kitchen a lot lately? Yeah, apparently that is my claim to fame. Bring it down to the yard and I'll have a play. Could be a rotten terminal, says Neil. Oh, right. Well, I will do. Thank you. Yeah, apparently, Barry, apparently that is the case. So there you go. 24 hours in YouTube community jail for naughty old Boaty. So there we are. Bullocks to YouTube, says. Bullocks indeed, yeah. Now then, what else have I got to tell you? The weekend was, well, so I saw you last properly on Thursday night, didn't I? Nothing really happened over the weekend. Pretty much entirely uneventful, to be fair. Just absolutely standard. Went to work, went to sleep. Oh, something notable did happen on when was it? It would have been Saturday night. Completely unexpectedly, I heard from Little Miss. I got a message at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had a chat. The first time I've spoken to her since Christmas 2022. So that was rather lovely. I never knew you could get banned on YouTube, says Joe. Well, yeah, I mean, you can get banned in various ways. You can get a community ban where you're not allowed to comment. You can get your entire channel can be banned, and your channel can be banned, your account deleted for various crimes. Barry says everything is so PC and often taken out of context. I've been banned many times, as you can imagine. I can imagine that, Barry Scrotter. I can well imagine that you have indeed been banned many times. Are you alone, says Pendulous Knocking. I do like that name. Oh, gosh. It brings to mind nothing more than my late grandfather's scrotum. No offence to anybody, least of all my late grandfather. But yeah, when I think of Pendulous Knocking, then I do think of my late grandfather and that particular portion of his anatomy, which probably says more about me than it does about anything else. But anyway, are you alone? I am indeed, to the best of my knowledge, unless somebody has sneaked in. A new feature of Untival. Oh dear. Uggable. And bending over is optional. Probably not advised. I rather like that, Ben. I hope nothing happens to you during your time in Facebook jail, says Barry Scott. YouTube jail. I've not been in Facebook jail for a while. There was a period when I was in there all the time. A month was the longest ban I got, but I've obviously been a good boy lately. The virtual version of being sent to Coventry. Indeed, Andrew. Load of rubbish, says Neil. You can't say anything now without somebody taking offence. Hello, Mr. Boaty, says Dan Peters. I see you were in Luton, down my neck of the woods. I was indeed. Captain Mustard, a.k.a. the Hairy Paddington, a.k.a. the Camp Damp Jesus, he and I were indeed down in... Oh, God. Oh, sorry, I'm getting stomach cramps. Oh, must be my time of the month. Yeah, he and I were down in the region of Luton Airport today. So that was jolly exciting. Boaty, asked Sophie, who got the right price of your lunch? Nobody so far. At the last time I looked, nobody had got it absolutely correct. Okay, YouTube jail, says Buddy. I've been banned from all at one point. Yeah, I did get a lifetime ban from the eBay discussion forums. I got banned on Facebook a couple of times, says Barry. I don't use Facebook or Twitter or whatever it's called anymore. Too much whining. Oh, it was really good to hear that on the Daily Diary, says Ben. Little Miss. Yeah, I was. That made me very happy indeed. PK, Pendulous Knocking, my grandfather's... Oh, no, I definitely can't sing that, can I? If I sing that, I will be thrown off YouTube. I'm thinking of a certain Kevin Bloody Wilson song, and I bet you can think of the particular song I'm thinking of. Oh, dear. I had a nice letter from Go Skippy. Dear Mr. Parry Hughes, and then nothing whatsoever. So it looks like they've sent me to Coventry as well. Anyway, I didn't renew with them. And I've now got 11 years no claims bonus going spare. Ow, bloody hell. Oh, what's going on with my stomach? I don't know. Do you cook live like that hairy bloke? I do indeed. Well, maybe not live, but I do. I do videos of cooking, and I do a food diary which comes out every week. And indeed, the most recent one came out tonight at 1919. The memes used to get me banned a lot. Well, I don't do memes. Can't be doing with them. I like writing things. I like old school. My goodness gracious me. So I've caught up with the comments. I've been a very good boy. What would you like to talk about tonight, my lovelies? My insurance, says Frank G05, has been an absolute joke recently. Believe it or not, I'm paying £3,700 a year for my 103 brake horsepower ZR. You're joking. You've got to bloody hell. How are you paying £3,700? Well, I mean, A, how can you afford it? You must be rich. And B, how can they justify charging you that? Are you 17 years old? Or have you been banned 59,000 times for doing naughty things? Interesting read. That one says, Pendulous. My word, you have big hands. I do indeed. I can span many octaves on a piano. Is this set to all messages? Asked Neil. Yes, I was a good boy. I did it before I started. How professional am I? I did put £4.50, says Sophie. I know you did, my lovely, and that's not the correct answer. Stomach cramps won't be long for trouser trumpet time. 385 quid a month, Frank. Bloody. Oh. Right, now this is awkward. I may have to pause this live stream before too long to go and take care of some business. This has never happened before. Dear, oh dear. 385 quid a month for your car insurance, Frank. Bloody hell. I'm on £5.50 an hour, my apprenticeship, and they expect me to pay that. Bloody hell. Right, I take it you're a youngster, Frank G_05 then. If your car insurance is that high and you have an apprenticeship. Gosh, that's a lot of money. Somebody's advising Frank to get insured on his parents' policy as a named driver and save thousands. Yeah, but at some point you do have to make the jump, don't you? Neil pays 120 quid a month for trade insurance. Ben says, Joe, I was sorry to see your crack on display earlier. What's that? Sorry? Michael Jackson has a crack. Either way, I'm sorry to hear about it. Ivor, yeah, I can't say that. Yeah, poor old Joe. He's not had much luck lately. Honestly, if that boy fell into a bag of titties, he'd come out sucking his thumb. Bless him, he was just driving down the road, minding his own business, and he got a massive great crack in his old windscreen on Michael Jackson, which is, of course, the name of his Rover 25. Do you reckon I could throw this and catch it on my head? Let's have a go. Damn it. What about if I do it like this? Oh, God. Ha ha! Now that's entertainment. My goodness me. You don't get this on Furious Driving, do you? Ha ha! Absolute. Oh, dear. I spoil you. I pay about £300 a year on my heap, says Buddy Scrotter, with removed headlining. The headlining looks like Fred the Sheds now. I'm sorry to hear that. You were 19 at the time. Oh, right. Okay. I missed a comment there. Barry says, my Maestro cost me 800 quid in 2002 and the car was free. I was 19 at the time. The ZTT is only 35 quid a month for me on its own, says Neil. Well, I can beat that. My ZT 190 is only £34 for the year. Beat that. Beat that, big boy. Beat that. Beat that. Beat that. Hey, this beat has really got some funky groove. Get down and party, you cats. Anyway, what was I talking about? I pay, says Dan Peters, £230 a month for my Astra 1995 1.7 diesel. I'm 31 years old and had my license 13 years. And you pay £230 a month. That's insane. That is insane. My God. Dear, dear, dear. Oh, hello. The lovely Sean is with us. And Sean says early tonight, Monday night, Sean. The restaurant is closed on Mondays, which means that I can start a little bit earlier and go on a little bit longer. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's 11 until, midnight, possibly plus VAT. And my candle has gone out. That's annoying. But on a Monday, I start an hour earlier, 10 o'clock, and try to keep it going. Sorry, but my OCD won't allow me to ignore this. Aren't candles a nuisance? I mean, when they get to a certain point. See, I mean, look at that. That's got loads of good stuff left in it. But because of an imperfect burning pattern, it's not working as one would wish a candle to. Never mind. I will try and rectify the situation with some Bryant May extra long matches. This is like entertainment in the old days, isn't it, my lovelies? Okay, right. We have a tricky situation now. I've left the match in there too long and I'm now completely unable to retrieve it due to it being very burny and hot. Oh, and now this one's going. Don't you go out as well. Come on. Pull yourself together, please. I paid good money for you. And quite honestly, I expect better. You see, what's going on is there's... oh, no, that one's bloody well gone out, hasn't it? Dear, oh, dear. Oh, this is absolutely intolerable. I can't wait until I get rich and famous and then I can just have new candles whenever I jolly well please. Oh, well, we seem to have reignited that one. That's good. And this one is, well, let's just see what happens, shall we? Now then, back to the, sorry, I've just read that one out of comment. Oh, Neil, really? My Trans Am is $230 a year on classic insurance, says Barry. Oh, wine, don't freeze it, says Andrew. I've not, well, you're ahead of yourself. I've not even put it in the freezer yet, but it is about time that I did. There is no reason I should be paying 100 times more than you for the year, Boaty, says Frank G. You're young. You are young, Frank G _05. Oh, what was that poem? You are old, Father William, the young man said. Well, I'm going to do that in reverse. And I'm just going to put the wine from the wine fridge into the curry freezer. And just give it that extra bit of chill. We're back on the super cheap plonk tonight, darlings, I'm afraid. And you know the score with that. It has to be chilled within an inch of its life, otherwise it's utterly undrinkable. That candle there is going to set the house on fire. Oh no, right, we can't have that. That's going to. Oh dear me. Hold on. See, it's because I dropped the. Oh dear. Right, you go down. Oh shit! Now, what was that? See, I knew that was going to happen. Oh dear. God, that made me jump. Oh no! Don't do that. Go out. Go out. Ah. Right, what happened there, darlings, is I knew that was going to happen. Excessive heat has caused the glass to, quite frankly, crack. So I don't want to get wax all over my lovely table. So we will. How hot is that? No, it's not too hot. We'll put that carefully in a plastic bag. And when it is fully cooled, oh, and there's a bit of glass. That will go out to the bin, and I will move this into the center of the table, and we will pretend that there's only supposed to be one there. And I suppose tomorrow I'm going to have to take out a mortgage and buy some more candles. So bloody expensive, especially if you have them in every room in the house, which is something I like to have. Right, so we've sorted the wine. That's done. Jolly good. Oh, hello. Too much information, pendulous knocking. But I hope you and your husband enjoy your moment of marital and connubial bliss. Thank you for popping by. I've never had to deal with that before. I've never had to deal with, I don't think I have anyway. I almost dealt with it. I've never dealt with a situation where somebody says, puts their hand up, apologizes for leaving the live stream because they're off on a marital pottering mission. Dear, oh dear. God. Dear, oh dear. Well, I mean, I suppose really we should be grateful that they're turning us off before they embark on this on this spousal adventure. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be comfortable knowing I was present at that. And I'm sure you guys feel exactly the same. My neighbour says Bad Books is paying £3,000 plus per year on a 68 plate Range Rover Vogue, and it was only 500 quid last year. Land Rover insurance has gone stupid. It really has. It really has, Bad Books, and it's ridiculous. There's one particular model that is being stolen, but rather than just weight those up, they've upped the insurance on every model Land Rover, and I'm dreading getting the renewal quote for my Land Rover, which is going to be due within the next. When did I buy Boo? It was spring, wasn't it? Was it March or April? I bought Boo from Mike, Classic Wheels Wales. Went down home. Me and Mustard had a nice road trip down the M5 and the M50 and the heads of the valleys. So yeah, I'm dreading getting that renewal. And if it's something ridiculous and stupid, I'm just going to sell it. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to pay crazy insurance. Sean says, I moved my gas and electric from OVO at £400 per month and quoted me 120 quid per month for both, starting on March the 1st. Bloody hell, that's a hell of a saving there, Sean. Who have you gone to? I think you said you were going to look at Octopus, was it? 120 quid a month. That's cheap as chips. I don't know how you're getting away with that, to be honest. God, I mean, I pay Yeah, 120 quid a month is, or just a little bit less, is my electricity alone. And gas, at the moment, I'm paying, how much am I paying? Per month on gas, I'm paying between 2 and 250 quid. So, yeah, like somewhere getting close, yeah, around the 400 quid, probably just under the 400 quid a month. Although the energy price cap is going down on the 1st of April. So all of our bills will be falling. The average bill will be falling to £1,600 per year. So that will be a blessing. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, that will coincide with spring. And we won't be needing to put the heating on quite as often. So we should all be saving a nice few quid after another 4 or 5 weeks or so. And what we should do is the money that we save, we should put it all on one side and we should meet up and have a lovely big party with jelly and ice cream and trifle. And we could play party games like hunt the slipper and pin the tail on the donkey and hide the sausage and pass the parcel, all of that sort of thing. That'd be rather good fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, Sophie, you're right. We didn't want to know that. It's the government trying to get one over on motorists, as usual, says Barry. Well, it's not, is it? I mean, the insurance companies are not governed by the government. They set their own doings. I don't. You've confused me there, Barry. I'm not sure where the government come in, unless you're talking about something totally different, and you're not talking about Land Rover insurance. Jimmy Quinn pays 180 quid a year for a Ford C-Max 2-litre turbo. And Barry says, Jimmy, that's pretty good. And Jimmy says, I'm just old. That is one of the benefits of getting older, darlings. Your car insurance does go down a little. And as I was saying to our young friend, Frank G _05, who said that it's not fair that he has to pay 3,000 or 300 times more than I do. Yeah, well, that is the price that you pay for being young, Frank. And if I were you, I would pay it gladly, because for you to get insurance as cheap as me, you would have to be old. And believe me, you don't want to be. Enjoy your young, wonderful life. Okay, you pay a little bit more on car insurance. But I'm guessing, young sir, that if you can afford to pay that on car insurance when you've only got an apprentice wage coming in, I assume that you're still living with your parents and therefore have zero or minimal other outgoings. So suck it up, make the most of it, and enjoy your youth. Somebody once said that youth is wasted on the young, and it kind of is. I'm sure everybody else feels the same way that I do, that if we could be young again, knowing what we know now and what's going to be lying ahead for us, we would all enjoy being young a lot more than we did, instead of worrying about this, that, and the other, which seemed like earth-shattering, world-ending things at the time. But of course, when we look back as mature, elderly people in God's waiting room, we look back and with a very different sense of perspective and realize that they weren't really that important after all. So, yeah, pay your car insurance, or don't pay it and buy a bicycle. And there's not much beneficial about getting old, but cheaper car insurance is, well, it's just about the only thing, isn't it? And the only other thing I'm looking forward to, and I've spoken about this before, is when I get to the age, please God, I do get to that age if I'm spared. I'm excited about getting to the age where I can break wind in public and nobody will be offended. They'll either be amused or they will feel sorry for me. And I don't know what age that is, but I know that it's a thing. And you think about it, right? I'm not old enough yet. I know that. If I was walking around Tesco, pushing a trolley, and as I walk past you, I just let one rip, then you're going to look at me in absolute shameful disgust, and you would probably take me to task and call me a malodorous. You would probably have something to say to me. Whereas if I was 80 and shuffling around Tesco with those really baggy jogging bottoms that the elderly often favour, although Captain Mustard wears those as well, and that's a bit worrying, isn't it? Oh, he told me the worst thing today. Oh, God almighty. You know when somebody tells you something that you really don't want to know? We are sitting together, darlings, on our way down to Luton Airport, and we are sitting two abreast in the front seats of a Rover 45. We are not that far away from each other. And he said to me, "Did you notice I'm wearing jeans today?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Do you know why I'm wearing jeans?" And I said, "Because it's not a yard day, because we're going." He said, "I'm really tired. And I didn't dare wear what you call my pajamas, my jogging bottoms. I didn't dare to wear them because when I'm tired, I always get an erection." I thought, blood and sands, I didn't need to hear that. I mean, that's, oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. I think, I'm not sure if that's on video. I did make some video going down, and I'm not sure if that's on there. I rather hope it is, because he'll probably deny saying it, but I promise you he did. And I felt even more uncomfortable then for the rest of the journey than I did already. And I was already feeling terribly uncomfortable because we're in his 45 diesel with a knackered front seat that won't, you can't adjust the backrest, and the backrest is right forward. So I've had to drive or be driven, be passengered 130 miles or whatever the hell it was, effectively leaning forward like this. It was incredibly inconvenient and uncomfortable, and I didn't enjoy it at all. But at least I was comfortable driving back. And I have got the Rover 45 diesel parked outside. It is in my care because, having done what we went to do, then we went down in one vehicle, we came back in two. So, so what's his name? Prince Albert has had to, he's having to stay with me for a couple of days. And then on Wednesday, I will go to the yard, pick up Mustard, bring him back here, and he can take the diesel away. I haven't looked at the weather for Wednesday yet, but if it's a half decent day, I'm going to take Melanie. I'm going to take Melanie Mingebag and give her a jolly good spring thrashing through the Peak District and over the Pennines. I fancy that. Haven't done a road trip in Mingebag for a little while, have I? And we're getting towards the weather for it now. So that is the plan for that. If the weather is really pants, then I'll probably take the diesel because he put quite a lot of fuel in it. And I drove it very frugally on the way back here to Peak District from Luton Airport. Luton Airport, who are you? Luton Airport. I drove it very frugally, and there's still quite a bit of diesel in it. So if I take that, I won't have to spend any of my own money. It could be a totally free day for me because Mustard has also promised to buy me lunch, partly as a thank you for me helping him out today, and partly because it's his bloody turn anyway. So But at least if he's doing it as a thank you, then he can't begrudge it. Every time it's his turn to pay for lunch, he has to make a comment about how he begrudges doing it. Yeah, dear. I quite enjoy that. I like the idea that he doesn't like paying for my lunch, but he has to do it. Makes the food taste better. Are you still here? Say Simone of Hooked on Classics, the lovely Simone. I am still here, and now so are you, Simone, and it's an absolute joy to welcome you. It's a joy to welcome all of you because, quite frankly, you are just the most top of the range, most wondrous blessed puppets that it. I mean, I am just the luckiest YouTubeist in the world because I am blessed to have you amazing top of the range viewers. And I couldn't be more grateful for you. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I would like to track each and every one of you down and hold you firmly in a manly embrace and then just gently squeeze and tickle you until you cried and wet yourself or broke wind or something of that nature. And that would be a very special bonding moment between us, wouldn't it? Even if we were parted after that moment for 6 months, we would always think, well, we had that moment where Boaty held me in a manly embrace and tickled and squeezed me until I until I cried and wet myself. That doesn't apply to Neil, though. That doesn't apply to Neil. With Neil, you've seen Neil, he's a big old unit of a man. With Neil, it works the other way round. I'm not capable of gently squeezing Neil. Whereas Neil is very capable of gently squeezing me, or not so gently. Oh dear, oh dear. I used to work for Eon back in the day, says Barry, and they, like all energy companies, screwed people, especially older people, over. They wanted to charge a fortune for providing nothing. Rants, Barry. Oh, well, there we are. Oh, and Simone is late due to a jigsaw needing to be finished. It's all about priorities, Simone. I completely understand that. If you've got a jiggle that needs jiggling, I completely understand that you cast me and all of your other friends and fellow community members, you cast us aside. You cast us asunder in favour of your jiggle. Completely understand that, and I don't blame you in the least. I mean, I do blame you, and you can be absolutely certain, Simone, that the next time you're not here, we'll talk about you behind your back. No, we won't. Of course we won't. Of course we won't. I'm looking forward to meeting Simone. Simone is on my list of people that I'm going to meet this year. And I will meet Simone when I do my Devon trip, which probably needs to wait until the days are a bit lighter. But it's going to happen. You mark my words, it's going to happen. By jingo. I think car insurance prices are ridiculous now, says Dan. Well, I don't actually, because I'm getting amazing prices. I've just insured my MG ZT 190, one of the fastest cars ever produced in the world, for £34 a year. I insured Lewis Hamilton for £37 a year, I think. Actually, that's a point. Why did Lewis Hamilton cost me £3 more than Stigbert von Thundercock? Lewis Hamilton's a bloody 1.1 litre Metro, and Stigbert von Thundercock is a thundering great 2.5 litre V6 190 brake horsepower sports saloon. Oh, go figure that one out. I suppose. Oh, how could we justify that? Well, the Metro has got no safety aids or anything like that. And indeed, the Metro, or the Rover 100 as it was then, was ceased in production because it recorded like the worst figures ever in the new Eurocap safety tests. So maybe that factors into the old insurance a bit. makes it a bit more of a risk. Whereas with Stigma and all of his airbags and general mahoosiveness, you could probably drive that into the side of an oil tanker and come out relatively unscathed. When I was 17, says Jim, and bought an old wreck of a Capri, it cost me £100. Huh? It cost me £100 to buy it. It was a wreck. I bought it to learn about cars. I tried all companies to insure it, and I was getting quoted £12,000 a year. You don't get this level of drama on Coronation Street, says Sean. You don't indeed. Sean, you don't watch Coronation Street. I think you don't have a television, do you, Sean? I'm sure you don't. Now, I am very much on record as not having a television. I gave up television 8 or 9 years ago now. One of the best things that I've ever done. And I think you're in the same boat, aren't you, Sean? You have similarly eschewed the old idiot lantern, and good for you for so doing. Read a book or listen to the wireless instead. Maureen Lipman always used to say that the pictures are better on the wireless than they are on television, and she was absolutely right. And you might think that sounds like nonsense, and in a way, it does. But if you are a person with some amount of imagination, you will realize that it's actually incredibly accurate. I've spoken about this before. And, you know, when books transfer onto television programs or film, and when you read a book and when you become utterly inured in that book and you become utterly inured with the characters, then, of course, in your mind, albeit subconsciously, then you form a picture of the character, you hear their voice, you have some form of an image of them, and you might not be aware that you have that, but you will be once it goes onto television or film, because then you will see the character being acted by an actor or actress or act person, whatever you're supposed to call them these days, and you'll just immediately go, ping, that's not what you look like. And that's not what you sound like. I mean, gosh. And that's even more so when you get multiple people playing the same character. That's a good feature. Now, we've often talked, well, you've often, I'm not, what do you call it? Whovians, I think. Doctor Who fans. I'm not a Whovian, if that's the correct word. I've watched the odd episode of Doctor Who. But nothing more recent than Tom Baker, I think. And obviously, Doctor Who has had a variety of incarnations and actors, stroke actresses, stroke act persons. But let's talk about some others. So, who is your favourite, or who was the best? You think I'm going to say James Bond? I'm not. You might even think I'm going to say The Saint. I'm not. The Saint, of course, was played by only two people. Roger Moore was the original Saint, and then Ian Ogilvy took over. And, oh, okay, here's a question for you. Now, when Ian Ogilvy was the Saint, he drove a white Jaguar XJS. When Roger Moore was the Saint, what car did he drive? And there'll be a non-existent prize for the first person to answer that correctly. And you're not allowed to Google. If you Google, you're cheating. And if you cheat, I will track you down and sit on your head and wriggle. And you wouldn't enjoy that, let me tell you. So, yeah. But I was going to say, who is your favourite, or who was your favourite, Hercule Poirot, and who was your favourite Sherlock Holmes? I'd like to talk about those, actually. Now, Hercule Poirot, I think that What's His Face was the best one, David Suchet. But my personal favourite would probably be Peter von Ustinov, Peter Ustinov. And he was kind of totally wrong for Poirot, but he's just such an amazing actor that I think he would have to be my favourite. But David Suchet, and moving on to Sherlock Holmes, I'm sure I remember reading that Jeremy Brett, when he played Sherlock Holmes, got so into the character, allowed the character to take him over, that he ended up having a nervous breakdown as a result of it. But he was a superb Sherlock Holmes. So the feature is for the next hour, when we get to 11 o'clock and I open the bottle of wine, the feature for the next hour are characters on TV and film that you think are perfect, and characters on TV and film that you think are wrong. Or a third category, characters on TV and film who are wrong, but who you don't mind them being wrong because they were just really good. And my example of that would be the television series of All Creatures Great and Small, where James Herriot was played by Christopher Timothy. Totally wrong, because James Herriot, or Alf White, to give him his real name, was Glaswegian, and he had a broad Glaswegian accent. And then when All Creatures comes onto the television, and in the books, it's very clear. The books are written in dialect, and he's very clear about his background, and he's very clear about his accent. It's mentioned many times in the books. But when it popped up on our television screens, then of course this Glaswegian guy is not Glaswegian at all. But I didn't mind, and perhaps you didn't either, because generally speaking, it just worked, didn't it? All Creatures. Tristan was perfect. Siegfried was inspired. Robert Hardy, of course. Mrs. Hall was lovely. Helen, Mrs. Herriot, or Helen Alderson, as she was to begin with, when she was played by Carol Drinkwater, was absolutely perfect. But she, of course, was replaced by somebody else, and I can't remember her name. Linda Bellingham, that's who. She was replaced by Linda Bellingham, the Oxo lady. And do you know why she was replaced? Because happily married Christopher Timothy and Carol Drinkwater were having a frenzied affair. Oh, scandal. So there you go. I can't be bothered to repeat all of that, but that is the feature to discuss for the next hour or something. Or you can talk about Coronation Street if you want. God, we were, funnily enough, we were talking about this in the car today, and I think this did make it onto video. Mustard mentioned a soap opera, and I kind of took him to task, and I said, "You don't watch that, do you?" I said, "I can't believe." And so then I asked him the question, what soap opera are you now, or have you been really into or enthralled by? And of course he said, well, I never have. It's never happened. And same question to me. I said the same. No, I've never slavishly watched or been enthralled by or even enjoyed a soap opera. Not my kind of thing. And then suddenly I realized that I was telling a big whopping lie, because I am enthralled by a soap opera, but it's not on television. It's on the wirelessness. I very seldom miss an episode of The Archers. As you know, we were talking about it the other night. I told you I used to live in the village that Ambridge was based on. I performed in the pub that the village pub is based on. Did a gig there, all of that sort of thing. So, but there you are anyway. Not another cracked glass, says Jenna. It's a candle. Watch the bag melt, says Vindaloo. You little face. I did check the temperature. Look, the bag is completely in one piece. Now, the last time this happened, It was a smaller candle, and it cracked and fell in half. Hot wax went all over the table, and it took me ages to get my beautiful table back into a decent state. Oh, come on, you. Now, this is on the verge. Ah, don't go out, don't go out, don't. Oh, bollocks. Oh, sodding hell. I'm running out of matches as well then. Oh. I'm just going to have to lash out on some more candles, aren't I? That's the problem with YouTube. It's bloody expensive. Oh, come on now. Pull yourself together. There you go. Right, now. Okay, you've got too much. You know what the problem is with you? No offense, but you've got too much wax and not enough wick. That's your problem, and I've had enough of you. I can't be doing with you and your attention-seeking behaviour. We will do the rest of this live stream candleless, darlings. Candleless, I tell you. I'm not going to be dictated to by a candle in my own kitchen, stroke, dining area, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm not having it. Bill Podmore might be taking notes, says Barry, if he was not spending some time being dead. Oh, for tax purposes, I imagine. Simone says, I need to add 5,000 miles to my mileage. 185 quid for that, plus 25 quid admin fee. And then she says a very bad word. As I had no interest in selling my internal organs to ensure the Capri, I got rid of it, says Jim. My 280 Brooklands. I had one of those, Barry. My 280 Brooklands was insured on Classic, and I had it for 400 quid in 2008. No, Frank, that's not a... The real question is, how many people don't turn it off prior to pottering? No, that's not a question we want to ask. And have you seen the Urban Dictionary definition of... No, I haven't, Frank G. And it's probably not wise of me to look. Does it have a definition other than my definition? I don't... Oh, go on now. I will have a look. Oh, dear. I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Oh, I can't use it. My fingers are too big to use a portable electric telephone. I make loads of typos. Podger, Urban. Ah, here we are. Oh, God. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, God. Well, to be fair, it's not a million miles away from my definition, is it? So I think we'll have to take that. All insurance companies, says Ivor Spotty Botty, are right so-and-sos. They bend you over a... Oh, God, can't read that out. No, and I can't read that out either. Didn't the gas and electric just go up 5%, asked Bad Books? Yes. They put it up to lower it, thieving gits. British Gas made 948% profit last year. I miss my 20s, says Simone. We all miss our 20s, darling. Dear, oh dear. Oh, our lost youth, eh? Halcyon days. I laughed, says Sean, so hard at the candle going bang, I've had to go and have a poo. God. Well, thanks for that lovely bit of information there, Sean. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'm not going to sleep now, wondering about you lot, what you lot are actually getting up to, while I'm talking at you on a live stream. Although, to be entirely fair, I have talked to you on video, both on the lavatory and in the bath. So I probably deserve everything I get, don't I? That reminds me, it's about time I did another episode of Boaty's Box. Right. Now comes the fun part of this evening's symposium, darlings. It is time to unleash the cheap wine, and it doesn't get much cheaper than this, darlings. Sainsbury's own brand House Suave. Now, it's not a thing of immense sophistication or palate pleasing delight, and I will be the first to admit that. However, it does contain alcohol, so as long as you freeze the bejesus out of it, then you can just about get it down your little red lane without gagging. And given that it contains some alcohol, the consequences of forcing it down your little red lane can be of great charm and delight. So, your very good health, darlings. Thank you for being here with me on this first live stream of this new week. Is it the last week in February? It is, isn't it? It's the first on, it's St. David's Day on Friday. Oh, I might have to do a special live stream for that. We can't allow St. David's Day to go unmarked, can we? Now, to any of you who are Welsh or have some Welsh heritage will be fully aware of the importance of St. David's Day, and you won't need me to tell you. So cheers to you all. Cheers to the last week of February, and here's to St. David's Day coming along, and hopefully the beginning of spring. I think it's going to be a fantastic spring and summer, darlings. I can't wait to share it with you. Your good health, bottoms up, chin chin. Oh, that's better. No, I didn't. Bad book, Simon. Maybe you could install a potty in your chair. Thank you for that tip, Vindaloo. Good evening, Boaty, and good evening, chat, says John Stoodley. Did you see Lorraine Chase at Luton Airport? Asked Bad Books. Sadly, no. Sean says, for utilities, I'm moving from Ovo to Octopus. Who am I with? I'm split. I'm with British Gas for the gas and Eon for electricity, I think. Diddly-doo, diddly-doo. It's Prince Andrew, not Prince Albert. Oh, whatever. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, John. You're in a better place in your mind. That's good. You have been on my thoughts, my dear chap. And I'm sure that goes for everybody else too. Vindaloo says, I bet Mustard looks good in his jeans. Mustard looks good in everything. He's a very handsome elderly chap. Bless him. He is lovely. He's one of those chaps that I've seen photos of him when he was younger. He looks a lot better now than he did when he was a young buck. He's one of those people that has aged very well. You are indeed, Barry. You are indeed. You're not capable of squeezing me, says Neil. You're not man enough. I did admit that. I did admit. Neil, you take a lot of squeezing, dear boy. I mean, you're a remarkably substantial human being. You are not easily squeezed. Dear. Simone might be going to Pride of Longbridge, says Joe. Could you meet her there? But Simone says, Joe, no, I can't afford it. But Simone is hoping to get the car to Mount Edgecombe later in the year, wherever that is. Oh, no, you don't have a TV, Sean. I thought that I was right. Don't allow yourself to be intimidated by the TV licensing people. They have they have some funny ways, those chaps. So you go online and you fill out your I haven't got a television thing, and they leave you alone for a while, and then they sort of say, "Are you sure you haven't got a telly?" And okay, well, you know, you probably haven't got a telly, but go on. I bet you've got an iPad, haven't you? Or I bet you've got a computer, and I bet you watch things on that, and you're not allowed to, so you've still got to pay your license fee. Um, and and then you'll get 50. I get a letter about once a week and have done for 8 years saying, "We're going to come round to your house and do an inspection." Bring it on. Bring it on, darlings. I mean, I've shown you this on video before. I've taken to just sending the letters back with a message written on the outside of the letter. I had one just a couple of days ago, I'm sure. Let me have a look. No, I must have thrown it away quite wisely. I wish they'd come round. I wish they'd come round because I would film it and get some great content. Dear. Yeah, I'd love them to, but instead they just. I think they hope to nag you into taking out a license in case you accidentally watch the BBC iPlayer. Now, quite honestly, I am a huge fan of the BBC. I know a lot of you are not. I know a lot of you will have very strong opinions about the BBC. And you can't say BBC on Just a Minute because it's a repetition of B. But we're not playing Just a Minute at the moment. So I can't. I've got a lot to be grateful for the BBC for. The BBC have actually been rather good to me. When I was when I had the car showrooms in Birmingham, and when I launched Grand Central, then BBC then they were very good to me at Pebble Mill. They gave me they went out of their way to be helpful. Certainly, Radio WM did the local BBC station. And then when I had my few years during my separation in my marriage, where I was living permanently at the cottage in Wales, I was doing stuff with BBC Wales then. Some of the happiest times of my life because Rod Rod had his show on BBC Wales then, and that was hilarious. The lovely, well, I mean, Wynne is still there. The lovely Wynne Evans. You could not meet a nicer guy than Wynne Evans, and anybody will tell you that. And if they don't, they're absolutely lying. It was like the halcyon days back then. And then you had you had what's his name, who's sadly no longer with us, who used to do the night show in the Night Garden, and I've got a mental block on his name. I can't remember. You had Owen Money. You had what's her name, the afternoon lady. Oh, and you had JMO. You had Jason Mohammed on the late morning slot. Oh, it was so much fun back in the day, especially, oh God. I wonder if they've still got it in the archive somewhere. We had a thing, JMO, Jason Mohammed. I think he does more TV than radio now. I think he kind of succeeded a bit. Last time I saw him, he was actually doing the snooker world championships. He used to host a quiz, a daily quiz. Can't remember what it was called. And if they couldn't get a competitor, or if a competitor dropped out last minute, they'd call me, and I'd have to be somebody different each. I'd have to be somebody different each time, and and there are a couple of times where I caused a bit of havoc. The one particular time, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I'd forgotten about this. I'd forgotten about this. This genuinely happened. I can't remember who I was being on that day, but I was very, very definitely Welsh, and I was being beaten on this damn quiz, and live on air, and it's live. It's not even delayed. It's live on air. So I accused the other player of cheating live on air. Poor old JMO didn't. And the poor fellow. I mean, it was right. For those who don't know, then Radio Wales, I don't know what it's like now, but back when I'm talking about, Radio Wales had a very, very elderly demographic, very elderly. That's why they got Rod on, to try and get the average age down. I think that when Rod started his Saturday morning show, I think the average age of a Radio Wales listener was 91, and Rod got it down into the low 80s. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, those were brilliant days with Corky. Chris Corcoran was on all the time. Barry Castagnola, Greg Davis. He used to come on. Oh God. And of course, one of my favorite people, Tom Wrigglesworth. He used to be quite a regular co-host. Oh dear. Happy days. But what was I talking about that for? Oh yeah, the BBC. I'm quite a fan of the BBC, and I'm very happy to support the BBC. And to be honest, I would happily pay my license fee. It's not a lot of money. I would watch BBC iPlayer on my iPad, and I would probably get reasonably good value from it. The only reason I'm not doing that is because of the bloody letters they keep sending me. So on principle now, I'm refusing to take out a TV license because I want them to come round and do one of these inspections. And if you look on YouTube, there are entire channels. There are entire channels devoted to how to deal with TV licensing goons, and people are very rude to them and they don't give them access to the house, which is, I hate all of that. I hate all of that. They're people, they're doing a job, they're trying to put food on the table at these difficult times for their wives, their families, their husbands, whatever. Right, so don't be an arse, would be my plea to you. Don't be an arse with people like that. You know how I hate all of that sort of stuff, all of the stuff that makes its way onto YouTube now. And don't get me started on those bloody auditors again. Hate all of that. So if the TV license people came round, I would be incredibly polite to them. I would welcome them in. I'd film it. I would let them have a jolly good poke around the entire cottage. I would offer them a nice beverage, but I would get a couple of cutting lines in just to get a bit of content, because let's face it, if they're coming to do an investigation into my home because I've claimed that I don't have a television, then they're saying that they don't believe me. They're saying, or they would be saying, that they think I'm lying. And I just think it would be quite interesting, quite good content, to see TV license officials coming around to a minister of the church's house and saying, no, no, your reverence, we think you're a liar. Somewhere up there, you've got a damn television. We know it. I just think that would be quite good fun. I would enjoy that very much. Oh dear. Oh, I wish I still did stuff with BBC Wales. That was brilliant. They were such lovely people. And I've lost touch with everybody. I'm friends on Facebook and stuff with a lot of them, and I try to keep up, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Lovely to see Wynne doing so well, and you won't be watching this, Wynne, but if you are, well done on your weight loss, mate. You're looking good. You know Wynne, I've talked about him before. He's the go compare man off the television ads. But outside of doing that, which he does because they pay him a rather large amount of money to do it, outside of that, he has radio show on BBC Wales, and I don't know if he still is, but he was the lead tenor of the Welsh National Opera. If it's a classic policy, says Bad Books, the first car costs more, then second and third get less on the policy. That's how mine works. Yeah, mine is the same. I hardly watch TV anymore, says Barry Scrotto. We're sacking off Sky in March. I much prefer to read a book than watch TV, says Barry. I create the world in my head. Exactly. I do exactly the same. The picture's better on the wireless was a line used in an Australian car movie made in 1982. Okay, interesting. At the moment, says Barry Scrotter, I'm trying to get little jobs outside done, so in the summer, I'm free to do better things in the fine weather. Good shout. Simone does have a television, but she doesn't watch it. DVD and Blu-ray for me. Oh, and an answer to the Saint question, and Barry has got it bang on. He was first in. A Volvo P1800S. Exactly correct. Simone follows on with Volvo. Andrew says Volvo P1800. Jimmy says that's too easy. But well done, those of you who got it right. There will be a non-existent prize winging its non-existent way to you very, very soon. Jeremy Brett was my homes, says Barry. Yeah, mine too. I never liked Poirot, says Barry. I did like Albert Finney, though. I never liked watching Sherlock Holmes. It bored me, says Simone. Yep, Jeremy Brett, says Ben. Jeremy Brett's wife died. That's why he had a breakdown. He suffered from bipolar disorder. Okay. I liked Basil Rathbone as Holmes as well, says Barry. I don't like Cucumber Patch. It was, I was very, very willing to hate Benedict Cumberbund. My wife, when she was my wife, made me watch a couple of episodes. And once I realised that it wasn't an actual facsimile of the Sherlock Holmes as we know it, I thought it was okay, to be fair. I thought it was bearable. But yeah, Jeremy Brett was my Sherlock Holmes as well. Didn't Jeremy Irons play Sherlock Holmes? I've got no idea. Don't know who Jeremy Irons is. Jeremy Brett, says Barry, was very nearly James Bond, but George Lazenby got the part. Is that true? Oh, I've got a great question for you. I've got a really great question for you. Okay, right. Listen carefully. And I will genuinely pay for a channel membership, a top of the range channel membership for 1 month for the first person to answer this correctly. First person who answers it correctly, if you ping me your bank details or PayPal address, I will send you £5 so that you can become a channel. Oh, actually, yeah, but you've got to take out a channel membership, right? You can't just spend it on sausage and chips and mushy peas. You've got to buy a channel membership, right? That's the deal. If you accept the money from me, you've got to spend it on a channel membership. If you're already a channel member, I will just say jolly well done to you. Here is your question. I need to be very careful how I ask this. Who was the first actor to play the character James Bond? That is your question, and I bet you none of you get it right. When I was young in the 80s, say Simone, I watched Neighbours with my mum. Oh, I didn't know that, Sean. One of the main producers of The Archers is from Treherbert. I didn't know that. You see, now, to me, Treherbert was always like a hidden place. My cottage, Sean, was on the, I don't know how well you know that side of the mountain, but my cottage was in Winegran, at the top end of Winegran, backing onto the woods through which ran the Banwyn Road. So, if you like, I was halfway up from the valley, and the master bedroom, the main bedroom, had windows floor to ceiling, and that view was just out over the mountain, over Treherbert Mountain. So you would see the valley. You would see the viaduct of the old railway line, long since closed, of course. And I believe that viaduct was built by one Isambard Kingdom Brunel, if I remember correctly. What I do know for absolutely certain is that David Walters had me sitting on his shoulders when I was a very, very young boy and leant right over the edge of the viaduct like that, clinging onto me for grim death, but didn't have to put the bloody willies up me. I'm amazed I didn't get an immediate phobia of heights. I didn't. It was just a bit of fun. I mean, if you did something like that in this day and age, you'd be locked up for child abuse or criminal behaviour or something. But that was my view, Sean. So, yeah, whenever I was sitting in the front porch or even lying in bed, then I could just see directly across to the mountain top there. But of course, as you know, there are no roads directly over the mountain. I mean, there are sort of, well, not public roads anyway. There are various, or there used to be various trails for various heavy machinery, and of course there are walking trails and whatnot. But Treherbert was always hidden because it was the other side of the mountain. And so, oh God, let me try and remember this now. It's been a while. So to get through, if this is the valley, so I'm here where my iPad is, and then you've got the mountain here, say, and then Treherbert is behind the mountain there. But to get to Treherbert was a bit of a faff, because you would have to drive up the Heads of the Valleys Road or up the Recos Bank. No, you'd go up Recos Bank, wouldn't you? You wouldn't go up the Dual Carriageway. No, of course you wouldn't. And then at the top of Recos Bank, before you got to the old works, whatever it was, you would turn right there, and then you would, and then eventually that would take you on a hairpin road, which would lead you up and over Treherbert Mountain, and then you would drop down the other side into Treherbert. So as the crow flies, you're kind of really close to it, but it always seemed like a remote and distant place, if you like. It's I don't know, maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's a thing in the valleys. I mean, you've got your valley and you know every inch of it, but then the other valleys are like, not exactly like foreign countries, but very, very different places, if that makes any kind of sense at all. I know that both as a child and as an adult, it was quite rare that we would go down the next door valley. It kind of wouldn't happen. We'd go down our valley if we were heading to Neath or Swansea, or we'd go up the heads of the valleys if we were heading to wherever. But yeah, going down the Runza, not so much, not so much. Very few times I would know or recognise very little. I do remember, Sean, if you're still watching, one of the places that you filmed, I assume it was the same place. I remember my father taking me when I was probably a teenager, so quite a while ago now. I remember my father taking me to the Ranza to oh God, it would be an out of town outlet. Oh, thank you, John. Don't forget the wine. Good shout. You don't want to be freezing that. Oh no, we're okay. It's okay. I'll leave it on the side there for a minute. But we're not frozen. We do not have a wine ted. I remember my father taking me to this outfitters. It was like a clothes warehouse sort of thing because he needed a new suit or he needed a suit. I'm not sure if he had a suit. I know he got married in my grandfather's suit. And anyway, he needed a suit for something or other. I think it was a job that he needed a suit for. And of course, he was always skint, my old man, wasn't he? So we went to this warehousey place, and I'm sure it's the one that you mentioned, Sean. And so my dad bought his last ever suit and bought me my first ever suit from there. And so that was a trip to the Ronza, but it, as I say, it was a very rare thing, few and far between. Candles never last, says Joe. I had a Yankee candle and it burnt about halfway, and that was it. Oh, and Barry thinks he knows who the producer from Herbert is. Wine o'clock, says Joe. Oh, Sean says, I was going to read more if I bought a mountain, then noticed you were on. So it's my fault you're not. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you here, Sean. And I hope you're enjoying the book. It's, as I say, it's a few years since I read it. But there we are. If you've not read it, then I think it's quite right that you should, especially as bear in mind this is not fiction. It's not fiction, and also remember that Esme went on to found the Snowdonia National Park thing. Please, Boaty, implores Ivor Spotty Botty, no more footage of you in the bath, unless you put up a suitable warning for us to avert our gaze. Oh dear. We Welsh lads have to stick together, says Barry. Well, absolutely. My birthday is St. David's Day, says Jimmy Quinn. Well, that's just like winning the lottery of life then, isn't it, Jimmy? So we will definitely have a live stream on Friday night, and it will be a St. David. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was bound to happen, darlings. A wine burp, an unsolicited wine burp, was sure to come along. The perils of live broadcasting. I can only apologise. And please be assured that I mean that apology very sincerely, although I'm not really sorry at all. But I'm sincere in apologising for it, even though I don't mean it. Mustard in the kitchen is here. Gosh, it's busy here tonight. And that is good old Captain Mustard, of course, on his second channel, probably trying to get a bit of publicity for it, given that he got 11 new subscribers for it last night after his live stream where he made bread live and then he ate that bread in the car today. Anyway, gosh, it's busy in here tonight, he says. It has been quite well populated, this stream, Captain. Don't tell Vindaloo. Hi, Mustard. Are you wearing jeans and did you feel tired? Don't tell him I told you that. Come on, darlings. I mean, have a bit of discretion. Not everything that I say to you is to be repeated. I got a letter from TV Tax, says Simone, saying they're starting an investigation. They don't even know my name, so that investigation is going well, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Mustard in the kitchen. Hello, everyone. I really can't stay, unfortunately. I have about 250 clips to work through from today's video. Well, I happen to know that's true, so we will forgive Captain Mustard tonight. How much is a TV license? Asked Jimmy Quinn. God, I think the last time I paid it, it was about £7 or £8 a month. Oh, almost 160 quid a year, says Simone. Don't forget your wine, Boaty, says Soph. I didn't, thank you. TV license is 170 quid, says Bad Books. Boaty could insure nearly 5 MGZTs for that. Oh, yeah, and that would be money better spent, wouldn't it? Oh, 5 MGZTs. What a thought. I hope I'm not falling behind on the comments, darlings. I am doing my best. Bloody hell. Boaty, TV tax took a disabled woman with Down syndrome to court and prosecuted her. She had no control of her finances. You can't support a company that does that. Yeah, but that would be the TV licensing enforcement people, not the BBC. I mean, Teddy Wogan wouldn't have done that. Sean, really? Is that true? I have a bedside cabinet which came from Wynne's house. Bloody hell, is that true? Oh, well, you've well and truly trumped me there. Was it a gift or did you nick it? Did he invite you round for tea and you nicked it? It's a nice house. It is a lovely house. Okay, that is a pretty good humble brag. I watch Netflix and YouTube more than TV, says Joe. Everybody's saying hello to Sean. HW100 or HW100 or HW100 is here and says, evening, Mr. Boaty. Good evening to you. Bob Holness, says Jimmy Quinn. And Barry follows it up with Bob Holness on radio, Barry Nelson on TV. Joe is going for Barry Nelson. Andrew is going for David Niven. Bad Books is going for Kenneth Williams. Andrew is going for Peter Butterworth. Bloody hell. I think, if I remember correctly, you've got me doubting myself now because Bob Holness rings a bell. And so I might be getting mixed up. But I think, I'm sure, I'm going to hold off on this because some of you seem very certain about radio was before TV. And Bob Holness definitely rings a bell. My answer was, now, and I probably can't prove this because I know that I was researching for the quiz that I used to write questions for, and I never found the piece of research that I found. I never managed to find it again. But I'm sure, somebody research it, find out if I'm right or I'm wrong. I'm sure the first radio James Bond before Bob Holness was, and now I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. The guy who played Compo on Last of the Summer Wine. I'm sure that he was the first James Bond on radio in a very minuscule light a light service afternoon play sort of thing. I'm so certain that I researched that. But I vaguely recall that when I asked this question before a few years ago, and then I went to do the research again to back it up, I couldn't bloody find it. And I can't remember the guy's name. Bill Owen. That's it. But I'm sure there was I'm sure that there was a James Bond radio adaptation on the light service or whatever it was called. Not a great big production or anything like that. It might even have just been a reading of the book. I don't know, but I'm so sure that Bill Owen was the first actor to voice James Bond. Did you see Tyrrell's classic workshop? Lamborghini Espada, full interior retrim back to original. Incredible job and costed customer 30,000 quid. Well, no, I didn't, because I don't know what Tyrrell's classic workshop is. I assume it's a YouTube channel, obviously. But no, I didn't see it. But I can believe that it cost £30,000 because the Lamborghini Espada has one of the most exquisite interiors of any car ever made. And I should know, I owned one. I've mentioned that before, haven't I? But, oh, what a stunning car. What year was the radio license abolished and what happened with that? I'm going to click. God, I've caught up with the comments. Oh, I've done so well. Sophie says, well, I'm off, you beautiful people. I have to go on my course tomorrow, the last one for the week, and then Blackpool. Have a great time in Blackpool, Soph. Take pictures, share them on the old Facebook group. It was Bob Holness on radio and Sean Connery on TV, I think, says John. Well, yeah, we've just covered that. I may or may not be wrong with Bill Owen, but I'm pretty bloody certain. Maybe if you did a search on Bill Owen, maybe that's where I saw it. Or maybe it was all just a fevered anxiety dream and I'm making the whole thing up. Right, where are we at? Oh, gosh. Gosh, time has flown by tonight, hasn't it? Tyrrell's classic workshop is Harry Metcalf's mate, Ian Tyrrell. Harry encouraged him to start the channel not long ago, and it's a superb channel. Oh, maybe I need to check that out. Timothy Dalton was my Bond, says Barry. Oh, who would I go for? James Bond. Oh, again, the books were so much better than the films. I mean, the films were a bit cringy, weren't they? Whereas the books were actually very well written. Sorry, I'm trying to suppress wine burps and hiccups. A tricky job for the elderly presenter. My favourite thing about James Bond, or to be more specific, and I've probably told you this before, Ian Fleming, who of course wrote the James Bond novels, I rather like his last words. And Ian Fleming's last words in his place in the Bahamas, where he ended his days, were, well, it's been a hell of a bloody lark. And I love that. I absolutely, and if you're wondering how I know that, the only reason I know that is because of Richard Burton, who is, of course, one of my ultimate heroes. And Richard Burton was rather entranced by those last words, and he mentioned them in his diaries. And at the same time, he's expressing his admiration for Fleming. And so, I've read every word of Richard Burton's diaries 64 million times over. So you're not going to forget something like that, are you? Right, I'd better be off, says Frank. Working early tomorrow. That insurance doesn't pay itself. It bloody doesn't, does it? 385 quid a month. Jesus wept. But like I said, you're young. Take advantage of the fact that you've got limited outgoings and enjoy your ZR above all, Frank. Enjoy your ZR. DB5 was the best Bond car. Oh, God. I suppose it might have been, but the DB5 was just such a shit car. It wasn't a good car at all. All right, favourite Bond car. I don't know any of the later ones. I would probably go for the Lotus Esprit. Okay, another question for you. In the books, what did James Bond drive? There you go. Over to you, darlings. In the books, in Ian Fleming's books, what car did James Bond drive and what did he call it? There you go. And there is a definitive answer to both of those questions. He drove various cars, of course, but there was one particular car that was his car. What was it and what did he call it? He had a name for it, darlings. And I'll give you a clue. It wasn't Stigbert von Thundercut. How annoying. I'll give you a moment just for that to stabilise and you guys to come back. I'm not sure at what point that cut out. I actually installed a new internet router. I was hoping these problems were behind us. But again, dodgy internet is one of the downsides of living up on the moors in the old Peak District National Park. Okay, right. I'll read that again. Richard Burton, Stanley Baker, Tony Hopkins, all from the valleys. Yes, indeed, all good Valley boys. And I was talking about Burton, wasn't I? Born Richie Jenkins, little Richie Jenkins, and he, of course, was from Pontrhydyfen, just a bit further down, a bit nearer to. A bit nearer to the coast than where I was. I think Tony Hopkins, he was Swansea way, I think. Stanley Baker, can't remember. Another thing on my bucket list is to visit Richard Burton's grave in Switzerland. That's a road trip that my father and I always promised ourselves that we'd do, and it never happened. But yeah, I would very much like to do that. A Fiat Punto. Oh, Neil, you silly sausage. Oh, where are we? Barry says a Bentley blower. And Jimmy says Bentley, indeed. Andrew also says Bentley. No, not a rusty trumpet. John says a DB3, I think. No. Favourite Bond ladies, says Andrew, opening up the discussion. Diana Rigg and Jane Seymour. Oh, yeah, well, you'd like to see more, wouldn't you? So, I mean, all of you who said a Bentley, you are correct. But what did he call it? Nobody has answered that. Simone is quite liking the idea of Diana Rigg. I'm not really all that familiar with the James Bond films. I mean, I've probably seen most of the early ones, but I didn't watch them fanatically, if you like, whereas I most definitely have read all of the books. Sean Connery's son played Ian Fleming in Spymaker. Is it Sean Connery, asked Sophie? I'm not sure what you're answering there. That's not what he called his car. Daniela Bianchi, yum. The blonde one in the snow, says Steve Cole. Oh, well, we've got you in your comfort zone now, haven't we? Talking about the nice ladies. Dear, oh dear. How's the old, the old wine's going down nicely, isn't it? I'm rather looking forward to supper tonight, my lovelies. I have got, and I don't mind sharing this with you because let's face it, we have few, if any, secrets from each other. This is going to be tonight's supper. Leftover, beautiful roast beef. Oh, look at that. Absolutely fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm going to have that with some homemade chips, which I parboiled earlier and which have just been resting in some seasoned oil in the old fridge. And I will be, so they've already been cooked once. And then I'm going to air fry them. In other words, I'm going to shove them in my little oven because, as I think we've established, that is all that an air fryer is. It's a little oven. So I'm looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to the beef, and I'm going to make. I've got some onion left over and some bits and pieces, and I'm going to make a nice peppercorn sauce to go with it. I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. Now, that beef that I have on Sunday was a hell of an indulgence for me. You know me, my meals normally cost £1. My normal budget for a meal is £1. But, oh, excuse me. Oh, dear me. That joint of beef was £6, but I had Sundays. I've got that for tonight. And then I've still got another portion left over there for, I don't know, lunch on Wednesday, supper tomorrow night, maybe. I'm thinking maybe with some mashed potato, the rest of the green beans. I've got some these green beans were reduced on Saturday, and yeah, they kind of need eating. So might have those for supper tomorrow night. I might have beef with mashed potato, green beans, and a Yorkshire pudding. God. Like being rich again, isn't it? Having beef 3 days in a row. I mean, I know too much red meat isn't good for you, but I haven't had any red meat for about... Oh, well, I had a steak on Valentine's Day, didn't I? Thanks to Neil. Oh, God, that sounded a bit weird, didn't it? But I don't eat red meat. But I mean, you know me, I live on... I love meat, but I tend to live on chicken. So red meat is a real treat. Oh, I like Daniel. Oh, excuse me. I like Daniel Craig. I forgot about him. Hated Craig as Bond. Absolute rubbish. I know I had beef on Sunday, Jimmy. Those are the leftovers from it. I got one of those small, extra lean roasting joints from Sainsbury's, £6, and there's no waste with them because there's no fat on them, which is fine for me because I don't overcook my beef. So I don't need a load of fat to make it juicy and succulent. It's juicy and succulent because I cook it properly. I don't cook the arse out of it, so it's like an old piece of shoe leather, and you rely on the fat or the marbling, keeping this dreadful old dry beef reasonably. I wonder who will be the next Bond, asked Simone. God, is it going to keep going, do you think? I suppose it will. Roger Moore was quite fun, wasn't he? I mean, he did it in an ironic way. I like people who do things in an ironic way. I like people who do things seriously and who are really good at it. you could probably apply this to YouTube channels as well. I like people who do things properly and are really good at it, like I don't know, James, Harry Metcalf, loads of others. I don't watch many YouTube channels, as you know. I love people who are crap but don't give a shit, like me. And I like people who do things in an ironic way, like, oh God. Who would that? Somebody like Auto Shenanigans. I didn't expect to enjoy his videos at all. But he's got quite an ironic and interesting interaction way, hasn't he? John says, if you wish to update the community on my bad news, Jason, I don't mind, as I may get upset if I do. I was feeling very awkward about doing that, John, because it's kind of not my place to do it. But yeah, I understand that it might be too difficult for you. So obviously, okay, well, our friend John, you all know him. You've seen him on videos. And you've been with him through the live streams, and you will know that he has had a series of health issues of late. And unfortunately, it would seem that they are not yet at an end, because John's test results came back, and unfortunately, now let me just make absolutely sure that I'm so obviously John had tests, very intrusive and unpleasant tests, and the results are back and they are not great. Unfortunately, John does have bowel cancer, and obviously that's on top of the other things that are plaguing him. So not unnaturally, he's not been in the best place over the last few days. And tonight he sounds a bit more positive, that his mind is in a slight, I mean, I don't know. I find this incredibly difficult because, what do you say about that? How do you deal with it? I mean, even dealing with it vicariously when it's happening to somebody else is difficult. How do you deal with it when you're the person that it's happening to? The only thing I can think of is that way back in the day on Facebook in like 2009, 2010, I used to play a game called Warzone Tower Defense. Maybe some of you guys and girls played it too. And the idea of the game was that you were defending from an enemy. And you had to defend as long as possible, as long as you could, through various strategies. But the point was, it was impossible to win. You couldn't defend yourself and the game would be over. It was a question of how long you could defend yourself for before you were inevitably overwhelmed. And that's all that I can think about when I think about John and other people. And maybe that's like life. Maybe life is like Warzone Tower Defense, that the longer you're privileged to enjoy life, then the more weaponry life will throw at you and you do your best to bat it off with your various defenses until eventually it becomes overwhelming, because without wishing to be overly morbid, of course, we all have an inevitable end, don't we? The only question is when and how. It's not if. And I imagine that that's how John must be feeling now, just incredibly overwhelmed by all the attacks that life has made on him recently. And I don't know. I don't know how you get your head around that. If I was going to be flippant, then you might say that that awful phrase, isn't it, where people say, "Well, yeah, he's passed away, but he had a good innings because somebody happened to be 81." But you think, well, bugger that, bugger a good innings. He might have wanted to be 90. He might have wanted to be 100 and get a telegram from the king, who has got some bad news to be dealing with of his own, hasn't he? So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, John, other than that my heart goes out to you, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the community. And I hope that somehow you can find some peace with yourself in amongst this. It's I don't know what else to say. Maybe you guys have got better words than I have. It's it's a bastard. That's what it is. And life often is a bastard, or life inevitably will be a bastard at some time, at some point. And I don't know. Probably not the time or place to go too far into that, is it? But John, you know that our hearts and wishes are with you. Yeah. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? It's a sobering thought. But John, we will all be here whenever you need us, one way or another. And yeah, keep battling, keep doing that. I mean, on Warzone Tower Defense, I used to get a perverse satisfaction from when you were just getting overwhelmed, and when your normal weaponry simply wasn't enough to keep off the impending forces. I sold everything and used the money to deploy nuclear strikes to wipe a shed load of them out and get a load of points right at the end of the game. It's like hastening your own demise in a way, or is it? It's probably no, it's not hastening your demise. It's delaying your demise, because you could keep them at bay for another 5 or 10 minutes. But there we are. There we are. John, we will be your nuclear strike option. But I don't know, mate. I haven't got the words. Just, yeah. There we are. And on that note, darlings, it is indeed, it's time to be saying our good nights, isn't it? It's 1 minute to midnight. We've been banging on for a couple of hours. I've loved having your company. It's lovely to be back live streaming with you. Oh, video title. Yes, we need a title for the video. And Simone had a suggestion. Where was it? Yeah. Does James Bond need a TV license? That's quite good, actually. Let's screenshot that. Any other suggestions for good point, Neil? Yeah, I won't mention it to bloody I was gonna say Putin, but oh dear, yeah. Oh, Mr. Stalin. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Stalin? If any of you have got a last minute suggestion for a video title, do chuck it into the mix, and do say your good nights, darlings. Thank you so much for your company tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I've been looking forward to doing this. It's been a weird day because I was home way earlier than I normally am. I was home at 5 o'clock, and I think I've shared some mental health stuff with you in the past. Before I started YouTubing and after I split up with Boo, and when the restaurant started closing on a Monday, I found Mondays very difficult. The days were okay. I could find something to do. The evenings I found very difficult. They were too long, and I used to get depressed and lonely, to be completely honest with you. Um, I'm always better off when I'm working. And today, now, normally on a Monday, then I'm normally at the yard. Okay, I might be off in a travelodge somewhere, gadding around, but normally I'm at the yard, and normally that means that I get back at about 8 o'clock, something like that. And that's fine. Gives me a chance to do this, do that, do the other. And then it's live stream time. Tonight I was back at like 5, and that gave me 5 hours of knocking about. And there's loads of things that I could do. 5 hours is an incredible gift to me because I could do cleaning in the cottage. I could do some organizing in the office. I could do some long overdue admin for the restaurant or for the YouTube channel, or for my eBay shop. Loads of things that I could do. But when I've got the time to do something, I tend not to do it. It's just weird the way that works. When I haven't got the time, then I will find the time to do it. And that 5 hours really dragged, and thank God I had this live stream to look forward to. Otherwise, I would not have gone to bed as happy as I will be going to bed, thanks to you. So, diddly-do, diddly-do. Oh, hello, Mustard's back. Yeah, you're safe to come back, Mustard. I'm going now. Is it all done? Is there a video going up tonight? Oh, Mustard, what have you got done tonight, and what is going up tonight? In other words, what can I and what can I not put in tomorrow's daily diary for channel members? Is the cat going to be out of the bag tonight? In which case I can put an unfiltered daily diary up, or are you doing what you suggested and doing multiple parts, in which case I need to do a secret scriddle daily diary tomorrow so that I'm not giving any games away? Let me know, dear boy, if you'd be so kind. Because I don't want to do the wrong thing. Oh no. And I'll just wait for Mustard to reply before I bugger off. Although he could always ping me, couldn't he? So, yeah, say your good night, darlings. We're well and truly back in the saddle now. Oh, hang on. Right, so is it still a secret for tomorrow, Mustard? Not a problem. I'll just do the daily diary will just be the driving down bit. I just won't include any of the driving back bit. That's easily done. Video title: Broken Candle, Frozen Wine, Just Another Night in Windy Bottom. Oh, that's not bad. John, yeah, absolutely. We'll get you up here at some point. Don't worry about that. Don't you worry about that. When the weather's a little bit better and we can have a bit of fun in a convertible or something like that. That would be, yeah, that'd be something for us both to look forward to, wouldn't it? And as I was saying, we are well and truly back in the saddle now, darlings. We've done Monday night. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week to come. I'm going to be with you for the next 5 days as we see out February. We welcome in March. We welcome St. David's Day and Jimmy Quinn's birthday. And hopefully we welcome in spring. So that will be wonderful. All right, not a problem. I'll keep an eye on what videos you put up, mate. And obviously, if it's still secret squirrel, then not a problem. I can deal with that. Or you can deal with that, so I can. I could even just put I think I filmed 3 or 4 sections, didn't I, of video on the way down today, so I could just do one of those sections as a daily diary, and I could save the others to go with the coming back sections to make like a standalone video on it. Not a big long one. It's your thing, but that would be quite cool. And then we'll get more footage on Wednesday, won't we? So that'll be fun, and hopefully we'll get a lunch video on Wednesday as well. That would be good. So on that note, I'm going to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for being with me tonight. I've absolutely Stephen S. Paul has turned up now just as we're about to bugger off. I'm glad you enjoyed it, John. That's good. And Ivor Spotty Botty is off. Quite right too. It's that time where if you're in Australasia, you need to get off and do a decent day's work. And if you're here in the UK or somewhere around this area of Europe, you probably need to get to bed, and I need to make some supper. I'm so looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to being with you all every night this week, right through to and including Friday and St. David's Day. So that's going to be fabulous. I'm looking forward to having some more time with dear old Captain Mustard, my bestest chum, on Wednesday. And I still haven't checked the weather out, so I don't know if I'm going to be kind and come over to get him in one of my cars, have a little bit of fun and use my fuel, or whether to go over and get him in his own car and use up all of his fuel. But that wouldn't be entirely fair. Yeah, well, you go and do that, Ivor. You go and do that. And the best of British luck to you. So that's it, darlings. That is it. I will see you tomorrow night. A little bit later, 11 o'clock, Tuesday night live. Have the best day that you can tomorrow. Please take good care of yourselves, especially you, John. Keep that chin up, matey. Keep that bloody chin up. Don't let that, oh, dear me. And all the love in the world from me to you all. Thank you again. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow night. Have a safe and peaceful night, darlings. For you, and indeed